there's a lot here. There's a lot here. So hear ye, hear ye. Episode 422 of Food Court is now in session. The Honorable JJ presiding.
Hello, hear ye, etc.
For the state, we've got Michael. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Ready to have some judgments passed.
For the unbiased defense, I'm Andy. How's it going, everybody?
Are these things we talk about in court? I guess we do.
You know, it depends on the judge, man. You're in charge. You're taking charge of your control of your control room. Take control of your courtroom.
What kind of courts are you going to?
If you got to ask, you're not in the right courtroom.
Yeah.
All right, bring your case, Michael.
All right, I'm dropping a link. I'm dropping a link in the chat here because you got to take a look.
We're off to a bad start. What's the number one rule of this podcast's food court? It's maybe the only agreed upon rule.
It's not done. I don't think it's done for the gram, though. That's the thing.
Okay.
This is a solution, but I need to know if it is a solution in search of a problem or if it actually solves a problem that enough people have.
Listeners and viewers, it is important to know he literally sent a link to Instagram.
No, this is
it should be said.
We've decided the rules, and the rules were that no food for the gram was like the number one.
But this is an actual restaurant. It's not a person doing it for the gram.
Okay. Without me looking at this, I'm going to guess it's from. I put my hand in front of all the comments before I even. This is from LA. I guarantee it.
Absolutely is.
Have either of you been to Australia or New Zealand?
Yes, both.
All right, we're going to describe this food in a second.
No,
but this
neither,
looks like...
Yeah, go ahead, Andy.
This looks, Michael, like a Americanized version of a hand pie.
I think that's a very good description.
Okay. Go ahead and describe this thing, Michael.
So it's a riff on a burger. It's from a food truck called Less Mess Burger. And what they do is they essentially seal the burger inside of, it's not quite.
Looks like a custom
hamburger
panini
bun
press.
Yeah, so they have a special press that they use to basically fast cook the bun around the burger and filling.
Effectively making this a pierogi?
It's like a hamburger uncrustable is the description that I saw someone use.
It definitely has the look of an uncrustable, but like
a pierogi is a dumpling.
Is not this a meat-filled dumpling with a weird case?
Because a dumpling uses like pasta dough, unleavened dough. This is bread.
Yeah, okay, fair. It is full like hamburger bun.
Right. So the reason I brought up Aussie and New Zealand meat pies is because they use like more like a pie pastry crust. Imagine, JJ, like a small, very small chicken pot pie that is cooked all the way around so you can pick it up. Similar to an empanada almost.
Yeah, okay. I was going for empanada there, but yeah, I get it.
Much rounded all the way around instead of the half moon.
Yeah. They're usually only filled with things like, especially in Australia, ground beef, ground lamb, ground meat, and maybe a vegetable. Potatoes, if you're lucky, you could find like a vegetarian one with potatoes. It looks very, very much like a burger bun version of a meat pie. I'm okay with it, except that they had to come up with some sort of LA name for them.
Right, so they're calling them a UFO burger because the bread that they use has the feet on it, right, where it gets pressed in between the two halves of the press.
Is that the best we could do?
Apparently.
So I initially looked at this and I wondered if that was cheese, but now that I see it, no, it's just
it's
bread.
Crunched bread.
Yeah,
it's just the toasted edges.
Because I was like, oh, that's a cool way to like melt the two bun halves together and like make like a cheesy, crispy thing on the outside. That's
is this a food truck or is it better? This is a food truck, right?
Yes, it's a food truck.
Yeah. Okay.
I think my concern with this, it's perfectly fine as an idea, but like you're getting way less burger inside this burger, man.
Well,
Maybe. I don't know if you're getting less burger,
I'm
but it
trying.
certainly changes the ratio.
Yeah,
I'm
it's like
trying
way
to
more
load their
bread.
webpage. I'm trying to load their website, but it doesn't load because I wanted to see. There's viable answers to this question that are it's too expensive and the name kind of sucks. Although the UFO burger appears not to be the official name of the burger. It's just called the Less Mess Burger.
Yeah, if you look at their Instagram page, like the top all their pinned posts all say UFO burgers.
All right, Michael, JJ, how much do you think this costs?
It's a food truck. It's LA. $18.
Oh, maybe once you add the sauce or a combo. Yeah, with the combo, it's $19.
Here it
Okay.
is.
So
But
what does the combo get you? Like a drink or something?
combo, French fries, and a drink.
Okay. So the burger by itself is
12.
12. All right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would try it. I'm not going to put up a staunch argument against this thing because I've had similar, and this Swiss and cheese and melted meat inside of a bun is, I mean,
I
yeah.
want to be clear. We're talking bad about it, but it does look pretty good in these pictures.
I'm not necessarily talking bad about it.
I'm kind of talking bad about it.
All right.
In some of the shots, JJ, if you look through their stuff, the cheese does ooze out the side, so you get like a little cheesy crust ring.
Well, then it's
around
not
part of
less
it.
mess.
Well, but the cheese gets toasted in the press, right? So you get a little crispy frico
Mm-hmm.
of cheese, right? It solves the problem of like your burger sliding out the back end of the bun or all of the toppings dripping onto your hand as you turn it upright.
Well, I don't know that those are problem.
Well,
I'm
no,
stepping in.
that
I don't know that that's a problem. That's part of eating a burger.
and that
Yes.
was the judgment I was after. Is it a solution in search of a problem?
Oh, I thought we were just judging the food. I see.
Well, yeah, sure. That was first.
Is it a solution
Secondary
in search of
judgment.
a problem?
So
Okay.
I think I can answer while Andy ponders here. I definitely think like if you're taking me to this place, I'll try one. Sure, I'm not like too good for it or whatever. Whereas some of the things we've talked about before, I wouldn't even bother trying. Right?
Well, yeah.
This looks fine, and it's probably decent. I don't know. Who knows? It looks appetizing. But I am kind of with you, Michael, in like this is someone going like, how can I get cute with a concept so that we can make a thing, but like the normal thing also probably would have worked.
Sure, like they're branding themselves as Less Mess Burger, right? It's not American Hand Pies.
Right, or UFO burger stand or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, UFO burger on Reddit, it goes back 2 years. So I guess they're not the first UFO burger. It looks like it came from Korea.
I would believe that because the press that they use looks like a riff on a bubble waffle maker.
So this looks like a Korean invention, which makes a lot of sense for an LA food truck. Those are usually some sort of fusion food, and oftentimes Korean food is used.
Very big Korean population in LA, right? So
absolutely,
that tracks.
And a lot of the fusion is very good. So this looks like it is like, hey, their concept in Korea of what a U.S. burger in a bun is kind of like this. So what if we brought it back and did it like a U.S. version? So maybe that's from the meat pie. I wonder how they got it in, the idea in Korea. But so that is to say, waxing about your search of a problem. I believe probably the original invention of that is, it was in Korea, they're not super into the mess of a burger falling out all over the street,
Yeah, and trying to adapt something for a
different population
or a stronger street food culture.
Absolutely. Stronger
Right.
street food culture. Absolutely. That was the first thing we did. Remember, JJ? We'd like wander the street and bang, there's a food stall. Let's get one.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. I think it's a different type of food. You know, it reminds me more of I want a meat pie style thing. I want a. So I don't know if it's solving a problem. Do they advertise it like because they say less mess, but part of eating a burger is that it's messy. So different food. This is different food. They should have called it UFO burger. Maybe the name gets a strike. I don't know, JJ. What's the ruling?
Yeah, I'm kind of torn on this one for similar reasons. I suspect the name is like trademarked or something, and so they can't. Right? Because otherwise, that's obviously the more popular name. So, like, why wouldn't they do it if they could?
Right.
In which case, like, I'm all about like F the legal system. So, like, yeah, great. Steal that copyright while you can. Yeah, I don't know. This is a gray area, I think. It feels like to me.
I feel like food wise, this looks like quality. And my guess is you're right that it's trademarked because these things. I'm watching a video of the Korean restaurant and it's all branded with the logo UFO all over it.
Yeah, there's a Korean restaurant chain called UFO Burger.
And Korea, Japan are very good about like if it's a chain, they go to America and register just because in case.
Turns out, smart move.
So it's viable theory that you have there. The food truck one looks better than this burger that I'm looking at, though, to be honest. You know, iteration improvement, right? Iteration equals improvement. Although this one's looks like seaweed in it, which is kind of interesting. I could go for that.
That would be good.
Food intrigues me. Name kind of sucks.
I think we all come down on the side of like, we would eat this.
Agreed.
Yeah. Okay. Well, since we're on food, I think it's best to transition into talking about something else circular. Y'all like donuts?
Yeah, big donut fan here.
Sure, yeah.
What if there was a video game that called itself Donut County and then it was not about donuts at all?
I know betrayed? I know what's up with this game. Yeah.
Would you feel betrayed?
I can't say I would feel betrayed because I know what the deal with this game is.
I was going to say I'd need to know more.
Okay. So I get the beginning of this story is I have a new phone. Upgraded to a different iPhone, and I feel in a lull game wise, so I had not played this game yet. It's been sitting on my phone for years, not playing it. It's a very light puzzle game, Michael.
Okay. Are we talking very light in like a Monument Valley kind of sense?
Lighter.
Oh, okay.
The donut in question is a hole in the ground wherein you use some questionable game physics to suck things into the hole in the ground. They just sort of fall in there. And as things fall into the hole gets bigger.
Okay, so it's a black hole.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a story attached to it where things go in the hole and you find out more about how the holes are started, and it turns out raccoons are cute but also a problem.
Sure, okay.
There's puzzle elements in some of the later levels where it's like you can get a thing to shoot things back out of the hole, and so you sucked up water and it filled up the hole, and now you can shoot the water back out of the hole, and if you hit this spinning thing, then it'll activate something. I'd say that's probably it. And the rest of it reminds me of another game. I don't know if either of you two have heard of, but Katamari Damacy.
Oh yeah, dude, that
Yeah.
game
Uh-huh.
rules. Katamari Damacy rules extremely hard.
Invert Katamari Damacy and add that very light puzzle element, and this is the game. Instead of collecting things around to make a bigger ball, you're dropping things into a hole to make a bigger hole.
Okay.
So after like 5 or 6 levels of this, I was like, Katamari on a phone would be pretty good. I wonder if it exists. Probably on Stadia. Oh well.
Rip.
Yeah. It was a nice palate cleanser game, but I expected more puzzle and less idle Katamari version of a game. And I think it was really popular at the time it came out, and I could see why. It's calm enough and idle enough to be a phone thing. Each level takes maybe 5 minutes max, so you could just pick it up and put it down and pick it up and put it down. Very useful for a phone, easy to control with your finger, but light, because it's on a phone. But the thing that I think made it the most popular was the raccoons and the cutesy story and the that type of stuff. The art style is cool. If it's like $1 or $2, I don't even know what it costs these days.
I just looked on my phone. It is $4.99.
I'd buy it for half that.
It is also on Steam and I'm sure other places.
Yeah, I think on Steam you're going to pay much, much more than $4, and I don't think it's worth that.
Yeah, I think $5 here is the right price if you're looking for. Andrew said it was a like almost idle.
I mean,
level of difficulty.
So I don't think Katamari is hard. I don't know. What's your opinion on that? Like, rate me a scale of how hard Katamari is.
Yeah, those games are not difficult. The thing about them is it's interesting to like go around the various levels and figure out how to collect the things in the order you need or the categories you need in order to make the thing.
Yeah. So this
do
game
whatever
does
the goal
not.
Is.
This game doesn't really have categories. It does have a puzzle where I had to knock down a hot air balloon. And to do that, I had to get raccoons to fall into the hole and then shoot the raccoons back out of the hole onto the hot air balloon so they would weigh it down into the hole. I mean, that's the level of difficulty of the puzzle, right? And the hardest thing I had to do in the game, I even took a video of it because I couldn't believe it was still happening, was like, I know I need to get this car to fall into the hole, but I have like no room to move the hole around, and the car just isn't falling in because of the weird physics. And I think that's one of the elements, the game elements that people thought was fun, is the weird physics where things will sometimes just shoot across the screen, and you're like, well, that was weird and unintentional.
Making the jank a gameplay mechanic.
Janky gameplay mechanic. Very cute raccoon. Kind of like an ADD thing. I get it. I'll play through the rest of it. Very similar to that golf game. Is like, well, yeah, I'll just keep playing it because it's fun, but return play value is not going to be very high. So,
sure.
Donut County. I'd buy it for a couple bucks, for sure. I think it's on Apple Arcade or whatever, so you can do what you want. Donuts are often stored in glass cases, JJ.
They are?
They are. So you can look at them. My computer is stored in a computer case with a glass side. According to Steve from Gamers Nexus, glass sides are on their way out because they don't provide any airflow.
It's true.
But I don't understand that, since aesthetics in components are more attractive to people than ever. So tell me why. What are we doing a component class about cases for, buddy?
Tell me why.
Oh boy. They're talking about doing a reunion, by the way.
Really?
Telling you, Backstreet's almost back.
Wasn't that In Sync? Or was that
Yes, it
Backstreet?
was. No, it was In Sync.
And I don't think anyone has asked they're planning to do a reunion, right?
No, it's In Sync that's talking about doing a reunion.
Oh, they are. Justin Timberlake's stock has finally fallen low enough that he's like, I guess I'll slum it with these other guys.
Well, or the song that they put out together was crazy popular enough that they realized, oh, maybe there's something to be gained of value by doing a reunion.
I don't know.
He left them, right? So it's not like.
Yeah, just saying, InSyncTour2025.com exists, and it says 5 days till they go live on stage.
Okay.
That's what I got for you in terms of that information, despite my bad Backstreet reference. It was a contemporary. I was trying to connect it. It wasn't great.
You're saying Backstreet is not back.
Backstreet's not back. InSync is back. But, I can be forgiven, I think. It was close.
Backstreet's Back is the song.
I know.
All right.
InSync's
we all
back.
tried.
No, we didn't. Not very hard.
Cases. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the nice things about mesh, Andy, you can see through it.
Depends on the mesh, my man.
Yeah, true. But, if you're not really interested in looking at the inside of your PC anyway, then, who cares?
Then that's
right?
enough. Yeah. Yeah, I own something called a Meshify, which the front of it is mesh.
How much other mesh is in the Meshify?
It depends on your definition of mesh, but the top and the bottom are also mesh, in my opinion. And the front is mesh. The side is glass.
Do you need to explain your opinion then? Because, is it a bunch of little holes or?
Yes. It's a steel grate with a bunch of tiny holes in it.
Okay, I think that's the definition of mesh. What is the thing that isn't the definition of mesh then?
Well, so, I'm going to look at it again. Hold on. So I can, I feel like mesh implies that it is somewhat removable or adjustable or fine. And these are different qualities. Obviously, they're not all required, but it implies some of these things when you say them. So, like something with large holes, people would call not mesh, or something that is not removable might not be mesh, or it implies different things, I think.
Sure.
That's what I got so far.
A porous material is not necessarily mesh, right? It just has a lot of holes in it.
Yeah, sure. Is netting mesh? No, right? Because the holes are huge.
Depends, right?
I was going to say, I feel like mesh implies a certain, maybe not defined, but a certain smallness of size or ratio of material to hole.
Yeah, I think I agree there, and that the sort of the way you think of mesh would be a bunch of really small holes as opposed to a bunch of larger holes, and then you start and just get into.
It's funny because I picked
something else.
I pictured a net in my head, like a fishing net, and I was like, that's not mesh. But then I pictured other nets, and I'm like, well, that's mesh. So I really think it has to be some sort of more fine mixture material. But I don't. Maybe it's just stuff that is porous in some sort of way, made from one or two materials. Usually, you'd imply some sort of interlacing or design. Is design part of being mesh? No, it can't be.
I mean, it could.
Why are we talking about mesh?
It could be, I guess, depending on how you want it to look, right? The design part of it could be a thing, right? You make a certain pattern of mesh and that lends itself to a design or whatever.
Fair enough.
We're talking about computer cases here, Andy. So for the folks out there, what is the one that you own
I have a Fractal Meshify 2C compact,
And
right?
you do not have an ITX, you have an ATX board. Is that correct?
I have an ATX board. I think the compact fits a full ATX board now that I'm remembering.
A lot of them do.
But it's meant for a smaller form factor of components. So anyway, I do know that I have a Fractal Meshify 2 compact. You can't fit as much stuff in it.
Got you.
You know. I think it fits a full ATX board, but it's not very big. It's I don't have a tape measure. And if I look it up online, it's from Europe, so I'm sure it will come with specifications in millimeters, and I have no idea what those mean. It's not true.
25.4.
25.4. Thank you. But I can't have a large PSU or a large cooler or a large GPU. You know what I mean?
Right. So that I don't know. The ones we have are pretty large. Or do you have a different GPU, or is this a different case?
3080 Ti, and it fits within 10 millimeters.
Not a ton of space then.
I could probably fit something slightly longer if I didn't have a front fan.
Okay. But, to be clear, GPUs are bigger than that now, right? So if you had a 4090 or something, you might be in trouble.
True. Good thing the 4090 is out of print.
Cries in NVIDIA money, I guess.
Yeah, that's what's the meme of somebody wiping their tears?
Right, yeah, exactly. Just like all these dollar bills, what will I do?
Yep.
So I have had the same case for maybe 2 or 3 builds now. So it's relatively old. Like it still had a lot of cages for 3.5-inch drives, if that's like giving an indication of how old it is, right?
You want to see? Yeah, my has 2 spaces for 3.5-inch drives. That's it.
Mine is old enough that it's the old style where it has a bunch of bays in the front for like.
Oh, and you can like slide stuff in and out.
Yeah, including like CD drives and stuff like in the front.
Oh, yeah.
It sort of expected you would do that, and so it had them there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then below that, a bunch of cage for hard drives.
5.25-inch drive bays.
Yeah, the slots. Yeah.
I love that even on a European site, everything's in millimeters, and then they're like 3.5-inch drive bay. You're like, yep.
Because no one ever made those in.
Thanks, America.
That's our contribution.
We won on hard drives. That's the only thing in the entire world measured in inches.
And 5.25 floppies and 1.44-inch floppies too, right?
So storage, everything's storage is measured in inches.
We just have more space over here.
Oh, that's not true because SSDs are now measured in millimeters. The M factor ones, like the ones you mount into boards.
Yeah, like M.2s.
Mm-hmm. So we're losing ground.
So
you can gain at least 5 inches off the front of your case all the way down if you went to a newer case.
The size isn't really the issue. The issue is I have this AIO cooler that I intended to use in a different build for my wife that didn't fit.
That possibly won't mount to a case that old?
Correct.
Yeah. And your front IO has like USB 1A?
No, it's got it is new enough that it does have USB 3, but it's like USB 3 Gen 1 or whatever, the oldest possible USB, and it has no USB-C at all.
Right. So was it time for an upgrade, or are you looking for us to learn you some stuff about newer cases?
Yeah, I'm very curious about learning about newer cases. I have picked one, but I don't have anything to show about it yet. So,
do we get to know what it is?
Yeah. Do we want to just like reveal it up front? I can do that.
Oh, okay. Well, let's guess for a second some of the things that were important to you. So I know that you need to fit a 240 millimeter cooler,
Yeah,
360 millimeter cooler.
it's a 240. It's not the biggest one.
Okay, and you're planning to front or top mount that thing?
I think top mounting makes more sense for a number of reasons, which we'll go into when we talk about the case, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I can tell you there's challenges either way, I think, because you're essentially doubling the thickness of a fan either direction. So it depends on the size of the case about where it's going to fit, you know?
Yeah, if I mounted it to the front, I think, I guess my question about mounting like an AIO to the front is, are you introducing problems with pumping the liquid inside around versus when you have the AIO on the top, you're kind of guaranteed the pump is at the bottom of the loop, which is what you generally want.
Yes. So GN did a video about that, and it's essentially that the pump needs to be at the top of the loop. So if you mount to the
Top or
front,
bottom?
the
Bottom.
pump,
Thought the pump was at the bottom of the loop.
the pump's at the
Yes.
bottom of the. Oh, so hold on though. Yes, that's correct. The pump is at the bottom of the loop in the top mount case, but it's impossible. You don't want, as far as I recall the video, but you should check it out. GN did a video on it, and they mounted to everything in a case, and they checked airflow, and they checked cooling, and they checked everything. And top and front mount came out ahead on, like very clearly ahead of everything else as an option. But the front mounting, as far as I recall, you wanted the ports on the AIO side, on the cooler side, to be below the pump, because then the air bubbles weren't trapped at the top, getting sucked through every time you turned the pump on.
Okay.
Does that make any sense what I'm trying to describe?
I see what you're saying, right? So you leave the air bubbles at the top of the radiator where,
Yeah.
Maybe they don't hurt anyone or whatever, I guess.
Yeah,
But
if
I
there
think
are any.
that feels like it's probably bad for the system overall, though, then.
Well, you don't want a liquid pump running with air through it. That's bad for the pump. So you want to keep the air bubbles out of the pump.
I think that's why they were saying to put the tubes down. I prefer it on the top because then it's out of the way of all the other components. And frankly, I don't necessarily understand something about that, which is if you front mount it, it has to be an intake. So you pull cold air over the radiator.
It doesn't have to be, right? You could be exhausting through the front and intaking from the top or the back or something.
But most cases are meant to exhaust from the top and the back and pull air from the bottom and the front. Like there are designs on most of these cases to make them do that.
You're asking, like, you're saying it doesn't have to. Like, you can force air to go whatever way you want. It won't be optimal or good, just like it won't be optimal or good to mount the radiator on the bottom, but you can. Some cases support it.
Are you fighting physics as well, right?
Yeah, so let's say you blow all your hot exhaust air down into the underneath of the case. Where's that hot air go? Well, okay. Then the hot air, maybe it doesn't go right back in because the fans are blowing it out. It exhausts out the sides of the bottom. Now it's going straight up along the sides of your case where you're intaking again.
Again, I'm not here to tell you people are doing it right. I'm just saying you can.
Yeah, okay. I scrubbed this video again. Tubes up is bad. Tubes down is the way you want it. If you mount it on the front.
Okay.
Because of air.
That makes sense. That one I think I track. But the answer is just mounted on top, right? That's the real answer.
Depends. Michael and I ran into the issue when installing my AIO that some of the cooling elements of my motherboard caused me to have to mount differently because they wouldn't fit. Like it was ramming into the cooling area.
Yeah, just barely.
Mm-hmm. Like millimeters.
Yeah, but so mine JJ is mounted on top.
Okay, so then Andy, did you mount yours in front? Was that the
No.
compromise there?
No. I modified it.
You got out of Dremel is what I'm hearing.
No, I got different fans. The different fans solved the problem.
Got you.
Yeah. It's okay. Solved.
So I also ended up going with a Fractal case.
Ooh, which one?
And I got the Fractal North.
Oh, that's the new one.
Yeah.
That's the one with the wood.
Yes.
They like that one.
And I got the black one because I don't care about white. That seems silly. It's just going to get dirty.
It doesn't get dirty. It's just sitting on my desk. I have a white case. Those are fighting words.
Mine sits under my desk. And the thing I actually really liked about this compared with my old case is it has feet and stands up off the ground.
Off the ground, yeah.
And the ground in my office is carpet. So it is nice that it will not actually be like smashing down into the carpet and trying to pull air through that. It will actually potentially be able to get air in from the bottom.
Yeah, so you can either choose to probably mount a drive down at the bottom, or in front of the PSU shroud, you could probably mount a fan and pull air up. So the North was cool. I watched a video about the North because I thought it looked excellent. And
so did I.
It does look good.
It does look excellent. The North has a few quirks to it. One, it's mesh. You got to describe that mesh in a minute. That wood on the front is actually hiding more mesh, as far as I recall.
Yeah, there's another like layer of stuff behind it.
Yeah. And then what was the other weird thing about it? Oh, it came in XL size or something like that, right?
Right. So there's the regular and then an XL. Really, the difference between them, from what I could see, is they both fit the same sorts of components and like the same sizes of components. The XL is just bigger. It's just bigger.
It's just taller.
It just every dimension is wider, so that there's just more space everywhere.
Yeah. This is
my memory of the
very
GN
premium
video
case.
My memory of the GN video was like they were pretty much like, the difference between the XL and the regular is kind of like nothing. It's just like how much space do you want inside? Like the airflow properties just scaled up the same, and so it was kind of like whatever.
Okay. So you didn't gain any advantage except for space.
Yeah.
For wiring stuff.
Yeah, there's like more room, right? So if you want like a gianter GPU, they both fit like the biggest ones around, but if you wanted to have like double GPUs or I don't know, whatever, some kind of crazy
Does anyone still do that?
I don't know, dude. Like,
I feel like you don't really see it anymore.
I think it's dead. I do not know anyone running tandem GPUs anymore. They're too astronomically expensive.
Crypto people?
Also the power requirements.
But crypto people are running them. No, they don't even run them in tandem because they run them on mini ITXs in little farms, right? They're running, each one gets its own CPU.
It depends, right? I don't know what kind of crypto they're doing. Anyway, who cares? Like, crypto people can go pound sand. We don't care about their concerns. But yeah, you're effectively right that like, there's no real difference. Like, yeah, the bigger one costs more because it's bigger. That's how price works, right?
Yeah. Your case, if you got the regular one?
Yeah.
Your case is just basically 10 to 15 millimeters bigger every direction of my case. So all those little, oh my God, this barely fits or this almost fits were probably solved by you getting this case instead of the Meshify 2 Compact.
And this is the thing that I was like interested in, right? Because the case, so I have like a full tower, like big
Yeah.
computer case, right?
Welcome to you don't need that much space anymore. You're gonna love this.
It's not that much smaller than the case that I have.
This is gonna feel smaller, buddy. It doesn't have any 5-inch drive bays in it.
Yeah, that part is true. Definitely.
Yeah. Are you gonna keep those 3.5s in there? Or are you gonna transfer over to SSDs?
I mean, I already have SSDs. I have one 3.5 in there.
Okay.
So it's one 3.5, an SSD, and then an M2. And I don't see why
Nice.
I'm rehousing all the components I have. I'm not like changing them out. So
Okay. I just the quietness of not having spinning stuff, the not heat, the everything else, you're upgrading to this beautiful new case. One would wonder.
yeah, I mean, I think the fact that this case currently only has one big intake fan, and we're now going to 3 smaller intake fans.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much quieter that's going to make it.
That's something that's important to talk about when people are looking at cases is to check your fan compatibility sheet. Because as an example, my case fits top fans, 2 120s or 2 140s, right? But the 140s were the thing that did not fit when I tried to put that AIO up there. So I had to go to 120s. The rear fan, always 120. The front fans, 2 140s or 3 120s. So you kind of got to look at what's going to be available before you get too far into it. And honestly, the computer cases will run with just 1 or 2 fans in there. Even if you want to add more, it might be better for a lot of people to just mount a few and then add more once you have the actual spacing, because some of this stuff just does not fit the way they think it does.
Well, and you don't need to have a bunch of fans and the radiator, right? It's just you need to have some kind of fan situation.
You need to exhaust all the GPU heat.
The GPU doesn't have a radiator, dude. It just uses its own little fans.
No, I'm saying that's why you still need other fans in the case other than an AIO.
Right, yeah.
You need to exhaust
totally.
The heat from the GPU.
Yeah. So I think at that point, right, it's you have the big intakes in the front. You have the GPU fans blowing whatever way, the AIO going out the top. All that heat's just going to go down and out the back, and that's perfect, right?
Yeah, GPU fans blow in onto the fins of their stack so that some of it goes out the back through that designed double.
Yeah, they have heat sink things. Yeah.
Double heat sink exit there, and then the rest of it exhausts through the rear fan and the top fans. But that cool air, again, there's another reason for that cool air to be pulled in from the bottom, because then you can push that right into the GPU.
Yeah, exactly. So the other thing that I think is worth discussing is there's a bunch of new style cases now which do have glass fronts. But they're now no. So I got the mesh side.
You got you got the mesh side. Did you get the one that has that weird? If my memory serves, oh yeah, it does have that weird side panel that they were like, why is this here? This just blocks air.
Yeah, it has that.
What is that for?
It just comes with it.
What is it for though? They gave it to you for a reason.
I don't know.
Dude, what's that military panel called? MOLA panel? MOLLE, right? MOLA?
I don't know what this is
referring Michael to. Probably knows what it is. MOLLE is a type of organizational panel in military outfits and stuff like that. It's you'd look it up if you want. I think it's MOLA. Anyway, this looks exactly like that, where they're just like, I don't know, there's some sort of place utility-wise to hang your things. But but I can't figure out what it's supposed to be for from looks.
So their website advertises it as a bracket to mount fans on.
Oh.
Okay.
So you could have an intake from the side through the mesh.
Yes.
Oh.
And it is somewhat adjustable, so I suppose you could
put it up or down.
Yeah, on various locations there. And then they
Did
sort of
you use
mention
it?
like I don't know. I haven't put it together yet, so I don't
Oh, okay.
no answer.
Cool. I'm into that idea. More fans. I'm always into more fans.
Yeah, so we'll see how it goes.
Well, new style cases, yes, I have glass. But in the ever increasing fight to change thermals of cases, when we grew up, there was no intake on the bottom, no intake on the front as far as I could remember, because you had all those drive bays. All those drive bays were there. They tried the thing where they put the little side air slits in there. The sides, if you were lucky, they had holes in them on the sides. And the back had an exhaust fan, and sometimes the top had exhaust fans.
I mean, the thing is, back in the day, the amount of power and the heat being generated was lower as well, so it wasn't as big a problem.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Good
there's
point.
that.
You mean you didn't need 1,000 watts to play GTA 6?
No, it turns out.
GTA 1 was like, I could run this on a laptop that went to the moon.
Yeah, my playing Quake 2 didn't require a GPU more powerful than my phone.
No. Your phone is probably too powerful to run it.
Yeah, I bet it actually would have issues because it probably needs DOS or something, right?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, there's that other thing where it's like your processor can move too fast for certain things, right? You'd have to get an emulator to slow down the processor.
Yeah, DOSBox will do that for you. But yeah, like that's one of those things where like things were built with CPU cycles in mind and not expecting that you would run at 10 gigahertz or whatever compared with the 300 megahertz processors they had back in the day.
Yeah, so the new fight in cases in the last couple of years, based on these fun videos that are out there, case tests are fun because they're pretty objective. It just works or it doesn't work.
At least the way GN does it seems to be.
Yeah.
The interesting ones I've seen is these new, again, they have glass fronts and sides, but they're pulling air in from like the side in the back and like whipping it around out the back. So you have like
everyone's trying to cool these things better because things are only getting hotter.
Yeah, so there's not even a front intake or a side intake anymore. It's only the other side, like behind the motherboard, basically.
What? How?
The cases are like these aquarium style things. You should look some of these up. Like the GN had one they liked that was pretty good.
So your case and my case are very similar in so much as the back of the motherboard shroud that mounts the motherboard is where you're going to store your 2.5 inch drives and route all your cables. And it's very tight back there.
Yeah,
you would not be able to fit a fan. You'd need a low pro fan if you could fit one in there at all.
So these cases don't have front intake, right? So
okay.
that entire area where all those fans are is like translated backwards onto the side next to the motherboard, and they're pulling air from that back side of the case, right? And also the side panel there. Like that is the intake now, as opposed to the front of the case. And then they're whipping it around through, from there, turning it, following this glass front, then out to the back, and pulling in from the bottom as well because that's still there, and then the top.
Trying to create some sort of cyclone action inside the case?
No, it's just coming in from a different direction.
Huh.
I think the Height Y60 is one of these. If you look on GN's review, you can see it. They're these like, because the other thing, like all this, we're talking a lot about like airflow and thermals and stuff like that. It's all in
Sure.
competition with looks and design.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because, we're talking about like 5 degrees of temperature, but who cares about 5 degrees of temperature if you care about it looking cool?
Exactly.
Well, a lot of people do care about that. Yeah.
So, if you care more about how it looks, then, 5 degrees off your GPU temperature, or you don't care if the fan is louder or whatever, right?
Sure.
Then, get one of these other ones that have more style and show off things more.
This is one of those ones where they remove the GPU from the board. You can't even mount the GPU the direction. You have to bend it.
Yeah, they have these like vertical GPU mounts so that you can connect it to the board still, but then it mounts like standing up because all the airflow in the case is coming, I don't know, like at a bend, right? And so that if it was pulling air in that vertical position, it wouldn't be getting in the airflow.
This looks like it would take up a lot of room. I don't
They're
even
big.
see where you.
They are big.
I don't even see where you mount the PSU, and
Usually
running
underneath.
cable on this is gonna be heck.
The fan cables and stuff are bad, right? Because they have to like wind their way around back to the front somehow.
Yeah.
But again, you can get long fan cables and whatever. That's not like impossible to do.
I like the idea of this stuff. I'm happy if someone has this and they enjoy it, but this is not gonna be for me.
I wonder if they're taking advantage. I wonder if some of this is to take advantage of the fact that glass is a pretty good radiator, and you're using the glass of the case as basically as an extra radiation surface to dispel.
I don't
the
know,
heat.
dude. Look at how tight that GPU is to that glass.
Yeah, I'm looking at a picture.
That is intake. It's not like that's blowing off the radiator onto the, as far as I understand it.
But also
I think,
remember the way those like heat dissipation things in the cards are built. The air does go out in that direction. So you're having airflow in the case coming through the GPU in the direction the wind would already be going from the fans.
How are you getting the air through there? Because it's running along the glass? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I mean, the air isn't coming like back to front. There's glass in the front. It goes back to front, turns, and then goes out the back and the top, right? Like you're turning the air.
So you see, this is another argument for where you intake and where you exhaust really does actually matter, because if those two fans on the back are not intake, this doesn't work.
They are intake. Wait, on the back.
The ones that are vertical standing fans that are taking air from the back of the case.
Yes, those are intake.
Those have to be pushing air into the case.
They are. That's not a question.
This whole thing would overheat.
That is how it works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no fighting physics on that one because you have to push air.
That's the whole idea. Like these ones are the intakes now, and so they, it gives it a different look. It's just a. So I didn't go. I think
your sanity is going to be happy you didn't go with this.
Again, I'm not super worried about the build. I mean, we've built 1 million computers. It's not difficult. I just don't feel the need to show off the components to that degree.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, the thermals, I might as well get ones with more mesh and, enough space to deal with it. Because you're right. I think some of these other ones are pretty compact.
Yeah. Yeah. You got a nice compromise between compact like mine and losing that huge tower you've got. Good design. What I like the most, I don't know if Michael looked on here, the new things about air and all that aside, if you look at the north photos, there's an exploded, what looks like an exploded diagram of the case, right?
Okay.
But it's actually designed that way. It goes down to like a skeleton. You can take almost everything off of it except for like the PSU shroud and like 4 vertical pieces and the top. And even the top, I think you can actually take apart very easily too.
Okay, so really bare bones it.
I mean, you can rip the entire thing apart to build it and put it back together. That's one of the newer design elements that I think a lot of these guys are incorporating into their designs is what if everything mounted to just a tiny bit and then all these panels went back on?
That would
Very
make
cool.
that would make a lot of things a lot easier, like connecting hard to reach connections.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna be a good case.
They have a lot of pass-throughs, so I don't think it should be too tough, to make the hard-to-reach stuff plug in. But, we'll see. I'll report back when I get a chance to build it, which I don't know when that will
Beautiful.
be, actually.
Yeah. Wow. We went a lot longer on that than I thought we would. That's okay. You didn't pick a glass case, but I feel like every Browns fan in the world is in a glass case of emotion.
Because they're happy they traded
No,
their
I was gonna
wide receiver
say
instead of their
what
quarterback.
emotion is what emotion is it?
glass case of emotion. It's the screaming one where they're trapped with their feelings of dismay and regret over Deshaun Watson and trading Amari Cooper for peanuts.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Did we all survive the week of Rantasy Football?
I have nothing to rant about really this week.
Wow.
Surprisingly, yeah, I know. I won both my matchups.
Good for you.
Couldn't be me.
I continue to cling to a lead in that victory in the league that I'm in, the one league. My receivers, however, combined for a whopping 7 points between Tolbert and Olave. So the receiver problems continue over here.
Yeah, dem boys don't look too good. So
Yeah. Kraft and Goddard, 3.5 points combined. Maybe Ingram's on my waiver wire pickup this week.
yeah, man,
I
I don't
don't
know. It's just I don't know what to do with the tight end position. It's like Brock Bowers, and that's kind of it. Kittle, maybe. I don't know who else. No one.
But having good running backs will save you. So,
Yeah, I was not cut in the guillotine, so that's good. But I got destroyed by the highest score in the league. The other one. So with the second highest score, I lost.
Ain't it ever the way?
So it goes.
The true fantasy football experience.
Ain't it ever the way to just be destroyed only on the weeks that you score well? Oh, man. Well, in that case, if we've all survived Rantasy this week, we could talk about something else that might need to be destroyed. Or they were destroyed, actually, in the third age. I think only one of them, though. The Rings of Power, guys.
Yeah, they're back with season 2. Have been for a little while now.
Season 2 is over.
Oh, season 2 ended. Okay, we're behind.
I've completed it. I have serious concerns about sure of this show. But if you haven't finished it, I guess it's best to say take your time. The next season isn't coming till 2026.
All right, so we got a while.
I mean, I'm the one who had concerns going into the first season, right? So, like,
you didn't even watch the second one now at this point, right?
yeah, I didn't watch the first one either.
Oh, you didn't watch the first one? I thought you watched it eventually.
I said
My
I
bad.
meant to, and I kept putting it on lists, and then eventually I was like, I'm never going to watch this.
JJ, you may have been right. I feel pot committed, but I don't want to say anything for Michael since he hasn't finished it about why.
You know, it's pretty good. You can go read those books, man. Those books are all right.
So, even I, not an expert on the Tolkieniverse, am like, wait, that's not that. Those things didn't happen at the same time, or like this character is a combination of a lot of other characters, or there's a lot of I have a weird feeling that they're setting this up to not be thousands and thousands of years before The Lord of the Rings, and instead be like Aragorn's Isildur's heir from like 10 years ago.
I mean, that's definitely not how that goes in the actual, lore.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff getting really compressed in the story. Anyway, Michael's gonna finish it, so we can talk about it then. And in the meantime, before we talk about it in a week or 2 weeks, I'm not sure when, should people email about that new Zelda game?
Yeah, I am playing Echoes of Wisdom, and I think Andy might be too. So we could maybe chat about that next time we meet.
I think there's a really good chance we'll have a lot of Echoes of Wisdom to talk about next week. So if people email about it, we'll talk about it. Or Michael, you just come up with your list of questions.
I was going to say, I want to hear all about it. So,
well, where could they send those emails, Michael?
They can send those to podcast@weweregamers.com. And while you're sending us those, send us your favorite Nobuo Uematsu track, as he announced that he's retiring from composition.
And he announced that he's not retiring. He's just not doing full albums anymore.
He's not leading projects anymore.
Yeah, he's still doing some work.
Stepping back.
He retired and then said he wasn't retired?
He didn't officially say retiring. He said he's stepping back from being the lead on projects.
Oh, okay. Well, he did that new Fantasian game, which I still am unclear if that's Fantasian just a port or if it's a different game entirely.
It is a port, but with enhancements because it's not a mobile game anymore.
I'm into that. I mean, hopefully he went out with a bang. We'll find out in a little bit.
Went out with a banger.